hi, welcome back to Microsoft National Learning Week. Before we start, please fill up your attendance. You can scan the QR code as in your screen, or you can click on the announcement that we post. Okay, I will leave this for a while. Please fill up your attendance. We might have a surprise at the end at the end of the session. We don't know. So fill up your attendance for today's session. All right. So we're going to proceed with today's session, a hybrid learning series 2. For the first session, we're going to have Mr. Johnny from Fadis video. Over to you, Mr. Johnny.
Hi, thank you, Antara, and good afternoon, everyone. So I hope you guys enjoy your lunch, and I believe those that joined today, most of you already using Microsoft Teams, and I believe some of you already having the issue this morning that Teams having some disruption, right? Like the toolbars in the meeting are not working or it's not showing at all, but however, it's already been resolved. So for those that still having issue, kindly just log out and log in again, or probably you can just restart your machine, right? Okay, so welcome back for the second series for this month, and going to share again about the hybrid learning. So before I proceed, let me just share my screen. Give me a moment. All right, so yeah, I hope you guys can actually see my slide. Okay, we're fine. All right, so let's go. Okay, so there's a disclaimer. I believe everyone have understand about it, right? And make sure that you fill out the attendee forms. And for information, the attendee forms should be filled out according to your real name, right? Not your fake name. It's your real name, not your nickname whatsoever. And make sure you put in your school name as well, the correct school name. Do not skip the school name or simply type the school name and submit. You will consider a failed registration, right? So we're going to have some surprise at the end of the session. Please stay with us until the end of the session today. All right. So today we talk about the hybrid learning series 2, and I believe some of you that joined last month, you have actually understand at least the basic of the hybrid learning. But let me just do a quick recap that what we have actually discussed and shared last month. Right. So remotely we have a lot of remote currently that can be defined regardless of commercial world or from the education industry. We have remote work from home, hybrid work, remote learning, blended, and even hybrid. So all is it almost the same, just that how you actually define it and how you actually work on it, right? So for example, like for hybrid learning that we learned today, last month and now, we know that the hybrid learning should be run simultaneously or concurrently, right? Instead of actually do it, recording and play the recording. That's not really a hybrid learning, everyone, right? Because we do have a lot of teachers actually asking us, can we do recording and then send it to the student? That's not hybrid learning actually, right? So hybrid means that you have people in the physical room at the same time, someone actually at home, probably at different places and connected to you, and you run the classes at the same time, right? Okay, so are we going to stay with the old way, or are we going to use the new way? So this is the thing that everyone is actually considering, everyone is struggling on it. If let's say we really want to go for the new way, what should we do, right? What should we actually prepare and what should we actually have so that we can actually run everything smoothly? So this reason that we have this National Learning Week, so that you learn a lot and you can actually have some inspiration, right? Some ideas that how you're going to run this hybrid learning in your school. Okay. So from the picture, you can see there's a traditional, what I call classroom that everyone is like it. Even me, I like it so much, right? We can actually go back to school, go into the physical classroom, chit chat with your friends and your classmates, and have a good talk with your lecturers, your teachers, right? But because of pandemic, it's actually pushed everyone to actually go forward, moving forward, because hybrid learning has been in the market since 10 years back or even 12 years back. Just that in Malaysia, .NET famous that time. The reason why everyone should know that because of internet speed. So without a good internet speed and a proper so-called the hardware support, it's quite difficult for you to run a smooth learning so-called environment, right? Because hey, no one like to have a what we call it, the video calls, which is everything keep on lagging and lagging, right? I believe every one of you should actually use MSN, ICQ in the past 10 years ago, right? So when we're doing the video call, we found that hey, why the pictures very blur, the pixels not that nice. Yeah, because that time the technology is not that good, right? We don't have 4K videos, right? All these kind of things. But hey, now we have a lot, right? We have a lot of supports devices, and we have Microsoft Teams, right? They actually allow you to do all these kind of online resources, right? So that's why we have Jabra here today to share their Jabra devices to you. We have Adrian here from NCKL to share their experience and share their thoughts and also the hybrid learnings concept to every one of you, right? Okay, so this is captures from the internet that hey, this is how the school in Malaysia they're doing their online learning, and you can actually get every student to join in, and we can actually change the scene to together mode, so everyone will be sit in the same page, right? Like how you actually it's like feel like hey, everyone actually is sitting in the real classes, something like that, right? But yeah, and talking about this, there's a 2 weeks ago there's a news that came out from the press. I believe most of you actually have heard about it, that there's a teacher doing some updates in his social media saying that he's been waiting for 1 hour and there's zero student come into his class, right? And he's teaching mathematics, if I'm not wrong. So for the past 1 hour, none of the students are actually joined his class, and he feel very disappointed and demotivated. As a teacher, if let's say there's no student join to the class, like for example for today, if let's say none of you join, you feel like demotivated. I also don't know. Also don't think to continue speaking, right? So it's the same. So how are we going to make the class, make the thing more interesting, so that the student can join, and there's something that we need to make them feel that they need to actually join the class, right? So you need to figure out the things, right? So what I'm going to tell about the hybrid learning for today is more on concepts, right? How you can make it more successful, and what is the thing that you need to prepare, something like that, right? And yeah, so some of you that's still having some doubts, what is this hybrid learning really are? It's something like this. You have a physical classroom, a student in the physical classroom, at the same time you have a student online, and then both need to run simultaneously. We call synchronous, right? So it's synchronizing everything. We do everything in real time, right? If let's say the student in the physical room have questions, they can ask, teacher can answer. If let's say the same student, the student that in the online classes, they have questions they can raise and they can ask, So teacher need to be prepared. You need to have your video be prepared, your projector be prepared, right? Your mic need to be prepared, right? So of course we need to make sure that our mic is really supported, no background noises, the video is clear, right? So all these things need to be ready, right? So when this happened last year, the reception happens, a lot of people having, panics, right? Panics, everyone panics. So how are we going to make sure everything can be continued, right? Impossible that, hey, there's a disruption, there's a lockdown, then how about our study? Students need to stay at home, right? No need to continue study, and we just wait until the door is open, everyone come back to school. No. So we trying to figure out a lot of way to actually continue our lessons, right? We deliver our lessons to the students. So we need to find some way which is easy, everyone can access, and the platform is really easy to be used, right? Even though with a really very very small or very basic instruction, how to actually continue all these kind of things. So everyone is actually looking up and finding some way to actually achieve all these kind of things, right? So how the hybrid learning starts, as I mentioned just now, it actually starts since 10 years, 12 years back. So everyone is trying to finding their way to actually achieve the hybrid learning. Last time they call it blended learning, right? Or some of them call it online classes, right? The words actually recently just changed to hybrid learnings actually, right? So how the hybrid learning get evolved? Because hey, it get evolved. You know why? Because of pandemic. Sorry to say, not say thank you to pandemic, but because of pandemic, it's actually forced everyone. They push everyone to go forward, moving forwards, right? Regardless you're from the commercial world or you're from the education industry, right? So they push you move forwards. You need to find some way to make it real, make it, make it become a reality. There's no way for you to turning back, right? There's no saying that, okay, we do hybrid today, but after the pandemic, we go back to the traditional classes. No, I can tell you, they will not ended for this hybrid learning, right? It will be this, it will still continue because it's really happened right now. And the real fact is there's no endemic yet, right? There's no endemic yet. You see, I'm wearing mask. Everyone's wearing mask right now, right? So even though our cases are getting lesser, but it doesn't mean that we are safe, right? And we're waiting for the third booster right now. So everything is still possible, right? We doesn't know when the next wave is coming out, right? So we need to be prepared and we need to actually gear up everything. So we have for the past 1 year until now, almost 2 year experience. I believe most of you already gathered a lot of experience. You know how to improve, where to improve, or something like that. But if let's say you have the idea, we need to bring it up, right? We need to bring it up and make it real because, hey, it's happening, right? It's happening now. So how it get involved, you can see that teacher teach from the school classroom, teacher can teach from their home, student can be partially in school, partially at home. So we need to do all this kind of arrangement, right? We cannot saying that, okay, to this week, all the students come back to school, and then next week, all the students don't come back to school. It's not like that. Okay, almost there, just that we need to have a rotation, right? I believe it's already happened, and most of you that joined today, cikgu-cikgu pun dah tahu, okay? I believe most of you are sudah biasa, right? Because, hey, our student actually, half of our class students come back to school and half of it actually at home. Then next week, kita rotate, something like that, right? So there's a few benefits. Of course, we can't say that there's no benefits, right? So the benefits actually depends on the individual, right? We cannot say that, okay, this is the benefit that everyone will get when we're actually running hybrid. No, right? But there is a benefit that given for some of the individual, right? Such as you can have a flexible learning and teaching for teachers and for most of the students, right? Because hey, I can actually choose to stay at home because if let's say I don't feel very well, or probably I'm sick, or maybe because of this pandemic, my parents not allow me to go to school, I can still continue the learning. I just need to connect to internet and log in and join the classroom. And we can run the classroom simultaneously with the teachers, right? So students can be anywhere, yes, that's true. And there's a real-time engagement. Yes, I can actually still connected with my classmate, right? We can actually discuss about our homework, our assignment, right? Or even we can just a normal chatting, right? Yeah, and you can have a hands-on. So you guys know what's hands-on during classes. This is the thing that I like very much because, for example, if let's say we talk about like 10 years back, 20 years back, even for myself, when we're in the class, what we can do, we just listen to what teacher is teaching, right? What teacher is teaching, we just write down in the notes. Teacher teaching, write in the notes. If let's say I suddenly I've been distracted by something else, I missed the notes, that's it. Right, I can copy from my classmate, but I won't know the full ideas of this type of information, right? Unless I go back and do some revision. So what happened during this hybrid learning is every student have their devices. So when teacher teaching something about, for example, physics, chemistry, or biologies, they will actually know that, hey, teacher talking about this concept, they can straight away go and Google this, So when they Google it, they get more information, more description, images, samples, all these kind of things from the internet. So it's actually help them when they actually do listening to your class, right? Instead of they listening to one way, right? What you're actually talking, deliver the lessons to the student can actually online and search all this information, and they can actually, at the same time, they combine all the lessons that they learn from you, at the same time they learn from the internet. They have a full pictures and the ideas, because from the internet itself, they can still play the thing. For example, you talk about solar system, the student can just search for it and they can play from the YouTubes, something like that, right? So at the same time, for hybrid learning, you have the ability to actually record now the full session, right? When you're actually giving the lessons, when you're actually answering the questions, regardless it's a physical student in the classroom or the student in the online, when they're asking question and you answer back, everything will be captured, right? All this will be captured and students are allowed to play back the video, which is cool, right? So we don't need to worry someone actually skip the class and they miss the class. They can always play back, right? And it may develop the self-directed learning, self-motivated and self-disciplined for some individual. If let's say they actually really, take care, they're really concerned on their studies, it helps them a lot. They know that what time they should wake up, what time they should do their homework, what time they should submit their assignment, all this kind of thing, and how they collaborate with their student using technology, right? Like before, when we studied in school, we learn about all this technology after we graduated, right? So for now, they actually learn it while they actually during the classes from K-12, right? Which is cool, right? So from Microsoft, they actually came out some challenging when you have this remote learning or hybrid learning, which is equity, access, and capacity. But be true, I believe that these are the real challenges that we have currently in the school, right? Regardless which area in the world, right? That we always concerned about hybrid learning. Hey, we need to have a student engagement. Without student engagement, you get zero interest and zero participants, just like what happened 2 weeks ago for the teachers, right? It's about that engagement, right? So the student is like not appreciate, they're not joining your class at all, right? We need to have a training and support for new software. For example, hey, we need to choose what kind of software we need to use to actually to run our hybrid learning and online teaching, right? So this is thing that school need to actually decide it, right? Student mic video are off. If let's say they turn off their video and mic, it's quite difficult for you to communicate with them. So we need to set some policies. If let's say you insist the student to turn on their videos, please make sure you write the so-called policies or set the policy before you start the class. Just like how Antara just now doing the disclaimer, right? We need to set the disclaimer before everyone join today, right? This is something like, hey, you need to actually, accept this term and condition, right? Something like that before you can actually we continue and proceed with our presentation, right? So all the noises, the video background, distraction, all this kind of thing always will be affected the students, the focus, right? Sikit-sikit, I heard about the noise, I would feel like, hey, why the background noise like that one? I don't want to continue the lesson already because the background is very noisy, right? Why teacher teaching and then there's a drilling sound like that, so they cannot continue the study. And if let's say that when they're watching at you and then you are actually doing something on the whiteboard or whatsoever, and the screen, the video is blur. If let's say you're the student, do you want to continue? No, right? So you need to actually focus and actually improve the video and the audio. This is a very important part. So that's why we have Jabra here, right? So Jabra have actually shared their devices last month. That's for the normal what we call the for work from home between teacher and staff, right? You can use the Penacast 20 and also the speakers, right, to actually achieve a better what we call it the quality of the video and audio. But for today, they actually share a different product, which is for classroom. This is a thing that I believe most of you guys are interested on. Today, Jabra will share a lot on classroom devices, right? Like something like panoramic video and also the better speakers and mic, right? So we also need to have a challenges about internet speeds and the mobile devices. Do the student have a better internet speed? Do they have their devices connected, to Teams or whatsoever? So all these things is the challenge, right? This is the thing that we always, we're struggling on whether students have this kind of minimum requirement or not. So school system around in the world, they're actually trying to find some way to actually to connect to the student remotely. I believe this has happened not only in overseas, even in Malaysia. So they actually come up with a few ideas. We can partial opening, right? We don't open everything. We just partially opening some school, or we can actually have a synchronization and separate the students, right? We don't allow the student come back to the school in the same time, or we can have a rotate, right? I believe this one already happened in Malaysia, right? Even my nephew also have a rotation, right? For this week, they go back to school, but next week, they need to stay at home, and the next batch need to go back to school. Something like that. It's already happened, right? So how does hybrid work? Hybrid is a combination of all these things, right? The synchronized ke, tak synchronized ke, virtual ke, face-to-face ke. So we combine everything, become a hybrid learning. Okay. The key point will be everything runs simultaneously. Okay. It's not like, okay, today we run this 1 to 2 p.m. and then the next student batch is 2 to 3. That's not hybrid, right? That's a different class, right? So it's defined as integrated with a traditional face-to-face class activity, tapi kita buat online. Okay. So the student can be anywhere. They can be from home. They can be from at kampong, balik kampong. Also can join what, right? Because you're still using online, regardless where you stay lah. But of course, the main important part will be the internet, right? The internet connection need to be there. Otherwise, hey, it's not really good for you to join the class because you will hear everything hiccups. Right, if you hear my voice right now, it's hiccup. I believe you leave the Teams. Right, okay. So in order to transition to a dynamic hybrid learning models, school need to have some resilience in their institution. You need to build a resilience. So how to build? You need to concern on the collaborative capacity. You need to standardize the digital platform. Decide what kind of a platform you're going to use, and once you've decided, we need to implement it and do some change management. Right. So this is the thing that you guys need to really focusing on and need to really sit down and discuss whether do you want to proceed with this kind of digital learning, because I can tell you that This will be the future, right? You can't deny it, you can't avoid it, right? For those one thing that I heard, there's a quote from one of the person saying that if let's say you're not following the technology, the person that doing the technology will get rid of you one day. Means what? Means if let's say you don't want to go for the technology, you trying to find some reason to avoid it, you'll be overtaken by somebody else, which is they adapt the technology. You get what it means? So we need to learn, right? All these things we need to learn, and trust me, it's very easy, right? If let's say you guys are actually not confident with it, you guys not understand on it, always look for help, and we are here for help, right? So this is Teams, obviously, because for today we talk about Microsoft, and I'm from Fidelis. We are the GTP. So our product will be Microsoft Teams, or everyone saying that Microsoft 365. So Teams is one of the best so-called education platform for you to use, right? Because inside they already have the classroom concept. I believe most of you, maybe 100% of you already experience it. And if you need more to understand about the concepts, you know, the tools and the features that you can actually improve it, always look for us, and or always you can, you know, go to the Microsoft website to get more information, right? So school and university should select the technology tools to lead to cohesive and engaging student learning experience. So you need to choose a platform, right? Of course, obviously for today, I will actually not sell lah. I will actually share that you need to use Microsoft Teams, but of course you can choose others if let's say you found that it's more convenient and easy to be used. But we try to reduce the mixture of a lot of technology or software to a different kind of login, right? Because imagine that if let's say, hey, you're going to pass some assignment to the student, you need to tell me, okay, please log into this A, okay, to get your assignment, and then log into B to submit assignment, log into C to get the material, log into D to check your grade. If let's say you are the student, do you feel suffocated? You say, oh, why I need to remember 4 login to achieve one single thing, right? So Teams, for example, Teams classroom assignment, you create assignment here, you assign the assignment here, you do your assignment here, you submit your assignment here, you do the grade in the Teams, you do the grade rubric in the Teams, you do the feedback in the Teams. 8 things you can do in one single platform. Mana mau cari, right? So this is the thing that we have in Microsoft Teams Classroom, which is everyone like it most, right? So after you have decided the system, make sure that everyone get trained, and you need to implement it so everyone can actually follow the same pace, right? So everyone know what they can do with this so-called the system or platform, right? So M365 is one of the perfect digital platform. One of it, it's not the best lah. It's one of it, right? For education institution, because why? They give it for free. If let's say you are using Office 365 A1, but of course you can always opt for the higher plan, right? But of course you need to pay for it lah. But for information, 365 A1 for education is totally free. But do you know that for the same plan, if you go for commercial, they charge you $5 USD per month. Do you know that? Okay, so, but now they give you for free unlimited, right? You have 1,000 students, 2,000 students, 10,000 students pun tak apa, semua free, right? So at the same time, with this A1 plan, you get Teams, you know, you get Planner, OneDrive, all these kind of things. So everyone actually is asking, so how good is this Microsoft 365? Can it really help in hybrid learning? I can tell you, yes, it's definitely helped, because it did help in our commercial world for the hybrid work. Right, it helped in the hybrid work as well. It's not saying that, hey, once I have 365, I can actually doing hybrid learning, I can do hybrid work. You know, it's not that. It's that they are the foundation. You can actually have this foundation to be built up, and you need to get some support from other states. For example, your ISP, your devices like your videos, your audios, you know, or other projectors, all this kind of thing to actually support to have a complete suite, right? So you see here from the screen, this is Microsoft 365 Education A3, which is a little bit high plan because they come with the Microsoft Office apps. So the apps is the Microsoft Office that everyone know lah. Last time we have Office, right? Office 2007, 2010, 13, 16, and 19. So with 365 A3, you get apps for business for you to install in your devices. So kalau cikgu-cikgu, you ada banyak laptop lah. You ada laptop kat rumah, you have laptop at the school, you have another laptop in another bedroom. You can install the Office in these multiple devices, up to 5 devices. But I did try, it can up to 10 lah. Okay. Tapi kalau boleh guna untuk device sendiri, ya, for your own devices only. Right, so you can see from the screen here, this is what you get even though you're using A1 plan, right? But A1 you get 50 gig email lah, tapi sini A3 you get 100 gig. The rest is the same. OneDrive 5 terabyte. It's very big, 5 terabyte, yeah, 5,000 gig, right? You get Teams, SharePoint, one Office Online, Planner, all this kind of thing in one single license, right? So many of the teachers were asking, so many license. So what should which one should I use, right? Which one that I need to use it in our school? So from here, you can see that for student, you can use Teams, you can use email, you can use OneDrive, SharePoint, Forms, and all these things, right? And the best part of it, if you see the last one under the student, you can see there's an immersive reader, right? There's an immersive reader with Microsoft Translator. So this immersive reader are working very good because the student can translate all their languages that, for example, probably they're not really good with their language. They can actually translate it into the language that they can understand, and you can play the what we call the playback, right? So that the computer will actually read everything, read aloud, and you can actually listening to the pronunciation, all these kind of things, right? And guess what? For those that are using Teams, you need to know that even in Teams, there's a one thing that very useful for K to 6, right? Because inside you have a function that you can actually allow the student to learn about speaking, right? You can actually let the student to speak and it will be recorded down. And from the system, they actually will capture and help you to check whether they speak correctly or not, the pronunciation, is it correct, how many is wrong, do they skip the words or not? So they'll give you all this kind of analysis, which is very good, right? For standard 1 to standard 3 or even standard 1 to standard 6. Teacher, you can actually use this function to actually get your student to go for this assignment, right? And it's actually available even in A1. Okay, so you can use that, and it actually support multiple language, Bahasa Melayu, Chinese, Tamil, right? You can actually use any languages, but you need to upload your files, right? You need to have the article ready and just upload into the Microsoft Teams. As simple as that, right? So hybrid learning environment is a mix of all the models, right? Which is everyone is actually supporting it, and everyone is trying to build up this hybrid learning. So there's 5 elements of hybrid learning that you need to fulfill. I'm not saying that you must fulfill, okay? This is just a concept. So you can actually think through whether do you need the concept or not. So first thing, we need to have a better learning environment, right? The learning environment, it means your physical classroom, it means your online services. The online will be, for example, hey, you need to make sure that the physical classroom, the classroom is actually fixed, and the classroom is actually have the projector ready, have the video ready, have the microphone ready for the teachers. If let's say there's more than one teacher talking in the class, you need to have 2 devices that we can connect it simultaneously, and then the internet, the Wi-Fi needs to be strong enough. Cannot saying that, hey, the Wi-Fi actually at the corridor, and then when you're in the classroom, you only have 1 bar, susah lah, right? If possible, we try to get a very strong connection. If possible, use a LAN cable, right? This is everyone should know. And this is only one part. How about the online one? So online one, you need to make sure that the student have the devices ready, which means that they can connect the internet, they have video camera, they have the microphones, right? And they're able to connect it to Teams or any other platform that you require, right? So all this you need to actually, you need to go through. You cannot saying that, okay, we prepared the physical classroom. So how about the online, right? So maybe the student that join online, the other laptop, the other internet, only have smartphone. Smartphone also can lah, but sometimes the smartphone, the resolution too small, you actually demotivate the student. Some of them, they won't continue lesson because saying that, alamak, kecil sangat lah, tak nampak, right? So we try to get someone to fulfill all these kind of things, right? So yeah, this is the thing we need to actually, consider about it. And after that, we need to have this class community, which means that we need to have some engagement or interaction within the class, all right? Because even in the physical class, we also sometimes we talk about some social, right? We talk about, hey, how was your last weekend? Is it happy? Do you go somewhere else? Do you have a pet at home, right? What is the movie or the animation or the cartoon that you watched recently, right? So we talk about this in the school sometimes between the teachers and the student, or maybe between the student with their classmates, right? So same goes, we can do the same in Teams, just that how are you going to build it and how are you going to bring up the interest, right, for the student to actually join and start chatting in the Teams, right? So from there, you actually build your relationship with the student. This is very important. Without relationship with the student, you imagine that, again, we bring back to that case just now, 2 weeks ago, there's no student join the teacher class. Why? No relationship, no engagement. That's why, right? If let's say you have relationship and engagement, you can simply just say something in WhatsApp or in anywhere. Hey, student, it's time for the class. Please join. Straight away, they will join. Trust me. If let's say I'm your student and we have this kind of engagement, if you ask me to join your class, if I forgot, if I skip, I will always join, right? because we need to have some relationship. Okay, and after that, the third one will be the lesson design. So in Teams, it's not only for you to use for classroom. You can use it to communicate with between teacher and teachers, between the same subject teachers, right? Or different subject teachers is your choice, or between the teacher and the staff, or between the staff and the principal whatsoever. So from there, you can actually have a discussion between the same subject teachers. You can actually have a lesson design. You need to discuss and you can plan how you're going to deliver the lessons using the hybrid learning methods or using the online methods. So you can actually plan on it and you can try it right during the testing, because Teams allows you to test, right? There's no restriction saying that okay, you cannot use Teams while you're not teaching. No such thing. So you can always use a team for do a testing, right? Always test that, and you can actually get improvement after you do some testing. Because hey, there's nothing that you can achieve with one try, like I can tell you. Okay, even for us, we're using live event, we're using schedule meeting. Do you know how many times we try? How many error we hit, right? There's no way for you to achieve it using one time, right? No such thing, right? If let's say you really have it, that's because you're lucky. Okay. So the fourth one will be the engagement and interactivity. Just now we talked about the engagement in this class, all right? It's between the student and student. So now how about the teacher and the student overall, right? So with these Teams, they have a lot of function that you can have inside Teams to do engagement. Because for Teams, I just want to let you know, I'm afraid most of you are actually confused, saying that, hey, Johnny actually doing this Microsoft product saying that it's for hybrid learning. We should use all the Microsoft product. No, I never say that. So I just mentioned that Teams actually is ready. It's a platform that's ready for you guys to use it. So you can actually combine with the third-party tools. It's not necessarily everything to Microsoft. Just that the Microsoft is a platform, is a foundation that you can use. So for example, let's say you want to use it in the class, you can actually insert Kahoots, you can use Mentimeters, you can use Flip Grips, right? To make it more interaction in the class, right? So at the same time, if you see from the screen, under the channels, you can add in the product called Reflect. So the Reflect already have some fixed questions for you to ask the student. How was your feeling last week? How was your mood today? And how do you feel about the last assignment that we assigned to you? So the student can actually react. And from there, you can actually get the information, how many students are actually happy, not happy, average, all this kind of thing. So from there, you can improve. So you know that I found that this category of assignment I assigned, most of them are not happy. So from there, you can improve, right? Impossible is saying that 80 out of 100 not really happy about this assignment. Next week, I assign again because I just want to be sarcastic. I want to build them angry. No, right? So we actually gather all this kind of information so that we can improve. We can get a better category of assignment or homework to the students, right? And the last one will be the assessment and the feedback, which is in Teams. I believe some of you already learned. After you give the assignment, when you want to, when the students turn in, right, when they submit, teacher are allowed to comment, to give a grade and give a feedback, right? Like what you see from the screen right now. So from the feedback, you can put there, okay, karangan ni sangat bagus, right? Isi tersirat ada, isi tersurat ada, kandungan yang sangat menarik, right? You can actually put that to motivate the student, and students straight away will get the result, and they can actually read the result from their phone. They can read the result from their tablets or from their laptop, right? So everything can be done from Teams. You don't need to wait until, okay, student, you dah submit ya, tunggu esok ya, cikgu nak check esok. Not necessary, because you can check anytime, right? You can check during, if let's say you are taking some public transport, you can check during public transport. You can do it at night, because very easy, just grab your laptop or mobile phones, you can actually connect it to Teams and you can actually access to all this kind of a submission, right? So this is the 5 elements that provided by Microsoft. There's a learning environment, class community, lesson design, engagement and interactivity, assessment and feedback. So we always get feedback from the students so that we can improve our learning, our lesson, because we need to improve our delivered lessons, right? So that all the students are actually can accept and they will feel more interested in the class, right? So yeah, just let me to bring up some information about the team as well. There's assignment function. I believe everyone should understand about it. They can assign assignment to single teams, or if let's say you are the cikgu, you are the teachers, between the primary to secondary. Probably you are not teaching only one classes. Maybe you are mathematics teachers. You're actually teaching 3 classes at the same time for one single grade. So if let's say you're going to assign some assignment to your student, by using Teams, you're allowed to choose multiple teams. Yeah, right. This is some of the teachers asking, hey, I'm actually teaching 3 classes, same topic, same grade. So can I actually assign assignment to all these 3 teams at the same time? The answer is yes. right? When you assign, you can choose which teams that you want to assign the same assignment. So you don't need to do 3 kali kerja lah. Siapa nak buat 3 kali kerja kan? Okay. So when you assign, you can actually choose, hey, I want to assign to team A, team B, and team C. Something like that, right? Okay. The internet is down. Not really sure whether you guys can hear me.
So far it's good, Johnny. Johnny.
So sorry. I think there's some interruption with my internet. So you see just now, internet are very important. All right. I hope everyone can hear me. Antara, can you guys hear me?
Yes, can hear you clear.
Okay. How about my slide? Do you guys still see my slide?
So far can. You want to try move to?
Yeah. Let me just try to reshare it again in case.
All right.
Okay, where I stop? Okay, we talked about the assignment just now, right? We talked about assignments. So there's assignment that you can set from your teams. And yeah, then we have the grades function that you can actually set in the team as well, so that you can have the grades to be published, and you can at the same time you can see all the grades for all the students. So no need to worry. So teachers, for those that haven't tried assignment, bila you nampak ni, you jangan risau ya. It doesn't mean that all your students will see their grades, yeah. It doesn't mean that the student can see their classmate grades. This is the teacher view. Okay, jangan risau. Hey, I can tell you, if the student can see their classmate grade, it's a disaster for you lah. You know, because maybe the student are actually copying the another class, homework, and then they get higher mark. It happened, right? Because it happened to me last time. Okay, so the student, when they're actually seeing this grade, right, they only seeing their own grades only. Okay, so cikgu jangan risau. So at the same time, teacher can do some feedback, they can do some commenting to the homework. And when they actually return back to the student can, from there, they can actually see and they can actually improve, right, according to the teacher comments, right? And at the same time, when you're doing some scheduling meeting, it can be a manual scheduling meeting, right? You can set a schedule meeting to any of the students. If let's say you're going to do some, breakup rooms, or you're going to have a meeting with the groups only, right? You can always schedule a meeting and send to those group users. Something like that is your choice, right? And during the meeting, this is the thing you can do. You can apply background effect. Hey, you know that I think today or yesterday, Microsoft actually upgrade the background themes. Is very nice, right? Just now I saw it. I just asking whether I can use the themes, but today, because we are using this National Learning Week, I need to use this National Learning Week. Otherwise, I will use the different themes, right? And you can have the recording to be recorded, right? After that, you can actually give the student to play back. They can always play back the videos. No need to worry, they will skip the class, right? And you can also start transcription if you want to, so that they have a subtitle, but currently only support for few languages. And then we can have this sharing. You know that here, when we do the sharing, we can actually have the sharing to be shared like reporter. We can have the sharing like I can actually on the behind, and then there's a slide on the right hand side, something like that. So for me, I won't use the reporter. Why? Because of my size lah. Tengok size pun nampak kan. If let's say I'm using reporter, later half of the slide already been covered by my face, right? So it's good for those that slim, right? You can actually use a reporter view lah. Okay, and we have a Microsoft Whiteboard, and guess what? Microsoft Teams recently came out a new function, but we don't want to review it here lah. There's a function that you can share content, okay? Then which is a new function that we have tried with our colleague Amir. It's quite a good function that you can actually use during your class. Okay, if you want to know more, maybe we can have another session for this. All right. Okay, and the tips for effective hybrid learning. You can have a positive relationship with your student, right? Between teacher and student. This is very important. That's why I keep on emphasizing about this, right? You can plan more effective interaction, right? For example, you can do some forms, you can ask some questions, some polls inside the teams. You can use multiple technology, right, into the teams. Not necessarily that you need to use all the Microsoft product. Trust me, okay, because you'll feel boring as well. If let's say everything you use also Microsoft, you can try to add in some others, input from the third-party sources, so that you can build more interaction in your class, right? And try to simplify the login, as I mentioned earlier. Try to not using too much of the software or login access. because no one want to remember multiple login just to achieve one single items, right? So that's why Microsoft, they only have one login, one password, and everything is there. The emails, OneDrive, Planner, Teams, everything in the single platform, right? So yeah, and the best part will be get a better microphone, right? Get a better video cameras. So this is what you can actually improve the video qualities and the audio quality. This is very important, I can tell you. Imagine that if let's say my voice is not clear today, I don't think you will continue to hear, right? And always get feedback from the student and improve from the feedback. But of course, some of the negative feedbacks are always a good advice, honestly, trust me, right? So technology can become the wings that will allow the educational world to fly farther and faster than ever before, if we allow it, right? This is from the Jenny Arledge. Okay, so that's all from me for today, and we'll actually pass the session to the Jabra specialist, because they're going to share the devices, how they can actually help you to improve your teaching and learning, because video and audio quality are very, very important. So make sure that you have filled up your attendance form for today, because we're going to have some surprise at the end of the session. Please make sure that you stay with us until end of the session. All right, so I will pass this to Raisin Sio from Jabra. So yeah, let's get here the new devices sharing from him. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Just a quick check. Are you seeing the presentation or my local content?
Yes, we are seeing your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so today, right, I will actually be doing a live demonstration with our Jabra Panacast solution, our video solution. So Jabra, right, I believe everyone who attended the session today is actually very familiar with Jabra, because we are one of the leaders in terms of providing the voice solutions, a medical grade voice solution, and also enterprise or even consumer voice solution. So today, right, Jabra, we also have this range of video conferencing solutions, which for today's scenario, right, we believe that it works very well for education, especially when we are talking about hybrid learning. So I will be later running through some of the so-called use cases on why we think that we can actually address some of the key issues. So for today, right, I'll be demonstrating 3 products, as you can see on my slide, right. The first one I will demonstrate is on the extreme left, which we call it the Panacast 20. So that is a personal conferencing device, and that is the device that I'm using now. And after that, I will disconnect. I will connect it with the Jabra Panacast 50. So this is a room device. And next, right, I will connect it with the Jabra Panacast. So all these 3, right, they are basically plug and play USB solutions. Okay, so this is a rough setup of how it looks like in this current meeting room, which later I will share. So the Panacast 20, which I'm using now, right, is basically similarly is clipped onto my laptop. And after that, right, I do have a Jabra Panacast 50 that is being so-called installed on the side of the meeting room. And lastly, right, I also have a Panacast that is actually being set up with a stand facing in this room. So as what Johnny mentioned, right, there is actually a lot of challenges, and for Jabra side, right, perspective, we believe that we also can address some of the challenge, especially in hybrid learning, right? Things like the technical portion, the device portion, to keep the student engaged. How do we keep the student engaged? It's really to provide a better audio and video experience, because unlike a face-to-face teaching, right, when we are into this hybrid learning, there is still a group of students that's actually at the remote side, right? So it's very hard for them, it's easily for them to lose focus. So it is especially important, right, to let them have a very good video and audio quality, so that they can still be very engaged in the teacher and in the sessions, in the lessons. And at the same time, right, because of this hybrid learning, right, it is a challenge to have technical support, right? Unlike if you are having a classroom environment, when if there's something wrong with the device, you might be able to so-called request for support. So when you are doing this remote hybrid learning, right, what happens if you are not in the school and you're facing with some technical issues, that is always a challenge. Unlike if you are as good as Johnny, right? If he's facing with some issues, he know how to resolve it on the spot, right? So our solution is really designed to be plug and play, simple to use with very little user intervention. So it's really meant for you to use it very simply without having to worry about any unlikely technical issues. And lastly, right, for hybrid learning, we also wanted to meet it in a way that our solutions, right, can be able to be relevant to you, right, when you're conducting a lesson, that you can actually send the message across to the student in the classroom as well as those students who's attending remotely. So without further ado, right, let me now stop presenting. I will go straight to the first solution. Okay, so now I'm going to remove my background. So now I'm in a physical meeting room. I'm connected to our Jabra Pentacast 20. So for Pentacast 20, right, I'll be demonstrating 3 features. The first feature, right, is auto tracking. So what it means is, right, as you can see, right, I'm not so-called touching my computer. I can be like a student or I can be a teacher, right, to move around. Okay, I can move around. And the Jabra Pentacast 20, right, it will actually auto track you. So for some students, right, maybe they are not really able to sit at a very fixed position for a very long time. They want to do some stretching. They like to move around. No worries, our solution will able to auto capture them. And also for teacher, right, sometimes teacher maybe don't want to conduct lessons at home, sitting down. You will maybe want to do this on a standing table. You can actually same thing, keep this on the laptop, right, and you can walk around, do some stretching, and without having worry about you yourself, right, not being captured by the video. So as you can see, all this is automatic. You do not have to do any intervention. It's just plug and play. And because we are Microsoft Teams certified, right, so once you join into the Teams meeting and you're connected to Pentacast 20, right, Teams will auto select this device. So this is the first feature. The second feature, right, I also want to talk about, we got this feature called light optimization. So what happened is today we are actually having this call or these lessons in a place, in a room, in a house, living room, in a bedroom, right, where actually we don't have those office lighting. We don't have a very good lighting for video conferencing. So what will happen? So now, right, let me switch over my camera, right, to my default laptop camera. Okay, so now this is my default laptop camera. Being brought my Pentacast. Okay, so this is the video quality, right, using the Natiomal. What if today I don't have a proper lighting? So I'm going to walk over and off the light in this meeting room. So even today with COVID, right, not everyone will really do a renovation, right, just to make sure that I have good lighting to conduct lessons or I have good lighting to be in a meeting, right. So today, if I happens to be in a room to be in a conferencing meetings that I don't have a good lighting, this is going to be something that it looks like. But what happens is you have a good device like our Jabra Pentacast 20, right, to join into a meeting room. So now I'm going to switch back to our Pentacast 20. So as you can see, right, I have not on my light yet. So we have this feature called light optimization. So it will actually analyze your environment and adjust the brightness from the camera. So all this, right, is automatic. You don't have to really go and mingle with your device. Like, okay, I do not have a good environment to be in a VC call. You don't have to worry about that. As long as you have this camera connected, everything is automatic. It will just auto track you everywhere, and it will just give you a proper lighting, good enough for a video conferencing solutions. So now let me go back and on back the light first. Okay. So the next one I want to talk about is a little bit of security. So for a lot of video conferencing solutions, right, there is always you always see news article about the device being hacked and hackers is able to see what you're doing in your room or at your place. So to give you a peace of mind, right, this Pentacast 20, right, we also have something called a physical privacy filter. So you can actually close it permanently. Okay, so we have a physical privacy filter. So in the event if you are still connected to your laptop, but then you are not in any call, you can actually close off the filter to just give you a peace of mind. No one is watching you. And what happens if today I wanted to do more than just teaching on notes, I want to maybe show some physical device. The Jabra Penacast 20 also allows you to do that. So I'm going to show you now. Okay, now right, you should be able to see. Okay, let me disable this first. Okay, today imagine right, if I want to share something, a physical device, what will you do? If you are sitting in front of your laptop, you will basically just show it, right? And I will just show you, okay, this is how a Penacast 20 looks like. You can see how small it is, it's on the hand. But then you will realize, right, by doing this thing, you are actually breaking your blocking your own face, right? The students is not able to see your face, your expression. They're only able to see the device that or the things that you're trying to show in front of them. So what Penacast 20 can do, right, is we have this feature called picture in picture. So this picture in picture, right, allow me to share a device in front, but at the same time, right, you can still see me. You can still see my face. Okay, and this was how a Jabra Penacast 30 looks like. So that's the beauty. I'm able to show a device in front, right in front, without blocking my face. You will see two video. You'll see a single video stream, but it's a picture in picture. You will see the device that I'm trying to share to you, but at the same time, you can still see my face on the bottom right corner. Okay, so with that, right, let me move on to the second demonstration. So now I'm going to disconnect the Penacast 20. I'm going to switch it over to the Penacast 50, which is a room solutions. Okay. Just a quick check. May I know, is everyone seeing me now or just the orange chair?
We are seeing the orange chair.
Okay, because I'm connecting to another camera. Okay, so now
I see you.
okay, this is okay because I'm connecting to too many cameras. Okay, presets. Zooming. Okay, so now, so our second solution, right, is the Penacast 50. So this will be more of a room solutions, and you can basically deploy it in the various classroom. So for Penacast 50, right, similarly, we are certified with Microsoft Teams. So definitely, if you are conducting your lesson via Teams, right, we are sure to be certified. And there is basically a few interesting features that I can show you. The first one, right, is one of the unique solutions for Jabra Penacast. I will need everyone to do me a favor. Can you just right click on the video, on my video, and do a fit to frame? Okay, I repeat again. I need everyone to do a right click on my video and click fit to frame. So once you've done that, right, you'll basically be able to see the whole meeting room. So this is a 180 degrees view, meaning to say that, right, you can see everyone who is in this meeting room. So if you have a big class, you can see all the students in the room. But what if today, right, I want to conduct a teaching and I install this inside a classroom, what will happen? So we have this feature, right, called the intelligent zoom. So from what I'm understanding today, right, or in the past, when teachers conducting lessons, right, we will never actually ever stand in a single spot, right? We would like to actually walk around. So same thing like the Penacast 20, but this is for a room solution. You can still teach and walk around, and the camera will still follow you. So you do not have to worry about will be walking out of the zone. What it does is to really let you just focus on teaching and try to do what you want with the students and not worry about is my technology working? Do I need to do some mingling and stuff? So everything is really automatic, giving you a peace of mind that once this is connected, right, it will always follow you and things will work. And the other feature I'd like to share, right, is I have a physical whiteboard. So what if today, right, for hybrid learning, I want to write something on the whiteboard. Today, you can only do it like in a digital whiteboard, right? And everyone from the remote side, they can see, but whoever is in the classroom, they either see, either you have a Surface Hub, then you can see the TV. If not, they will have to actually log in from their device, right, to see the digital whiteboard they're writing. But now, right, Java Penacast, we actually allows you to do this physical whiteboard sharing. So with this physical whiteboard sharing, right, can you just imagine those students who is actually inside the classroom, they can see what you're doing, and this will be the normal way of you conducting your lessons, right? Just walking around and writing on the whiteboard. But at the same time, right now, imagine you are the remote students who is also logging into these sessions. You can also see what the teacher is writing. So both the student that's physically in the classroom and the student that is logging in from the remote side, right, they can actually see you doing the same thing. So I think this is a very good example of having this kind of hybrid learning, hybrid teaching, using the physical whiteboard and just continue your usual way of teaching, but while ensuring that both the student that's in the class and remote can still see what you're trying to impart them. Okay, so next I'm going to switch back to my personal camera, the Penacast 20. Okay, hi. So now I switch back to my Penacast 20. I'm going to show the last solution, which is the Penacast 30. So before I start, I just want to have everyone, I should do my picture in picture. Let me just. Okay. Change picture. Okay, so basically, right, this is the third solution I'm going to show. Our original Penacast, this has been around for almost 2 years, and we actually have deployed this solution, right, in a lot of education institute. So later I will also share one slides for everyone as a reference. So this is a very good solution. The only main difference with this as compared to the one that I just showed, the Penacast 50, right, is this is a smaller solution. It doesn't come with speakers, so you still need to pair it with a Jabra Speak to provide the audio. But other than that, right, this is a very small and portable solution, right, that you can actually bring it around the classroom to set up an ad hoc video conferencing hybrid learning sessions. This is really in the event that if you're not able to like provide every single classroom with a video conferencing great kind of setup, right, you can actually still have this one as your personal device, right, to go between classroom to basically conduct your lessons. Or let's assume today, I do understand a lot of school, right, they also have a lot of this kind of flexible learning, where else is you would like to break students into different groups. So the table arrangement is always changing. So it might not be ideal, right, to have a video conferencing solution to be stuck at a particular location. So this is also very useful because you can just bring this around and you can just adjust it based on the kind of learning you want to conduct for your class. Okay, with that, right, I'm going to connect it to the Penacast 30. Penacast. Okay, now I'm back. So now this one is with Java Penacast connected on the table. It will auto frame to the people that is in the classroom or in the room, which is now I'm the only one, so it will frame to me. And similarly, right, I have a whiteboard with me, so I can still use the same product, right, to share the whiteboard. So to share the whiteboard, I need to stop my video first. And now I will share my content. With the Java Penacast app. So as you can see, right, I can still share the whiteboard using the original Penacast. So you can still bring anywhere, you can still continue to conduct the lesson, and you can basically use the same way that I'm showing you just now to share the physical whiteboard for both the student that's in the classroom and also from the hybrid that's basically logging in from the remote side. Okay, with that, right, I want to go back to my slide and share the last two slides. Okay, so this is one of the scenario that I have not demonstrated just now. So because I'm using a BYOD setup, right? So earlier when I was doing the Java Penacast 50, I'm able to show that I can actually toggle between the whiteboard and myself. But what if today, right, we were to deploy a Microsoft Teams Room solution in your classroom? This is something that we can actually leverage on, which is a Microsoft feature. It's called a content camera with intelligent capture. So basically, right, you can walk in front of the whiteboard and you will be like ghosted. So you doesn't really block the words, so you can write and the student can still see whatever is written in front of the whiteboard. And this will only work when you have a Microsoft Teams room being set up in your classroom. But if you are just using a BYOD, you are just using a laptop, then it will be what I showed just now. I will just be blocking the words, but then again, I will stand one side and you can still show the students whatever is on the content. And the next one is really a live example, right, from the Western Sydney University. So this is an example of when we try to capture a large auditorium, a large lecture theatre that's over 300 seats, right? So as you can see, for 180 degrees, right, we're still able to capture every seat that is in the auditorium. So this will also be good for a certain kind of setup if you have a large classroom or you have a large theatre. Okay, so with that, I have concluded my okay, so yes. So with that, I have concluded my demonstrations. Is there any questions before I hand it over? If not, then I will hand it over.
All right, thank you so much, Rayson. All right, attendee, if you have any question, you can post it into the Q&A, and Rayson will address them later. Since the live is live is actually around 30 minutes, 30-second delay, so the question maybe come out later. So please post your question to the Q&A section. All right, so by ending our recent session right now, so we're going to proceed with Mr. Adrian Yao from NCKL. He's going to share on the success story using of the hybrid learning. So over to you, Mr. Adrian.
Thank you, Antara. I just want to make sure that my voice is perfectly fine, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Okay. So and then the second thing, I was want to make sure that I am sharing the correct screen. You should be looking at my PowerPoint or my presentation screen.
Yes, yeah, I'm looking at the presentation screen.
Okay, all right, not the presenter. Okay, that's great. Thanks, Antara, for
all right.
for confirming, and Johnny as well. So first of all, good afternoon, everybody, and those of you who are in Klang Valley. It is a very heavy rain. It's heavy rain, and I think that because of that, maybe there was a slight disruption when it comes to internet and bandwidth. And then the second thing also, not just Johnny was saying earlier, he was saying that the what do you call that, the teams had some technical issues this morning, including ours in MCKL, because there were some colleagues of ours and even our lecturers, they couldn't find the control panel or the toolbar to end the call. So then we luckily we lodged that issue. We found out, and then our ICT team lodged a report to Microsoft. But then thanks to Johnny as well, you advised us to log off or log out and log in again, and everything went well after that. But I think one of the presumption I'm just speaking on personally is maybe they are enhancing new features into Microsoft Teams. And in many ways, when technology platform, especially in teaching and learning, when I particularly deal with technology platforms, there are always new versions, new updates. So for those teachers, if you are using Microsoft Teams, I always share my lecturers that you must consistently check for updates. Don't just use for the sake of using and that's it, and then you don't get the new features like insights, the data itself and everything. So that's just maybe my one of the observations sharing and all that. Okay, so for the last session that I will be sharing, I won't want to say it's more like a success, but behind every success there is a failure, and basically today's session that I will share with you how we went through to this part of it. It's also part of the failure that we have encountered, and I'm not shy to share, especially to the teachers. Each one of us, all the way, how to conduct hybrid teaching and learning is very different in many ways, and I can assure you right now we are still in the experimental mode. And I also can assure you that not just Malaysia per se, your school, but everybody in around the world. I've actually curated the presentation based on a lot of research, as well from other looking at other higher ed institutions, because MCKL we are higher ed education institution. So I was doing a lot of readings and literature review search on what is the best practice at this point of time. So I can assure you, it is part of the journey of adapting how the new norm moving forward. All right. Okay, so perhaps maybe if just a bit of shameless plug, allow me to introduce MCKL here to those of you who are new to MCKL. So we are a very small college, I would say, with approximately about 1,500 to 2,000 students. We are located in Klang Valley. We are actually in the heart of KL's main transit hub, which is just alongside with KL Central. There is Brickfields. KL Central is about 10 minutes walking distance. And on the good thing about our college is we have a monorail station just at our doorstep, which is monorail to Sabata. Otherwise, if you want to be healthier, you can just walk straight from our campus to KL Central. And most of our students, I think almost all our students, they don't really drive. They take the public transport because of the accessibility of our campus and all that. Okay. So perhaps maybe I believe Johnny has touched base a bit on in his presentation some ideas of what hybrid teaching and learning with Microsoft Teams. And I just want to also share that MCKL uses Microsoft Teams as our learning management platform, or LMS. Some people say it's learning management system. We don't subscribe to any of it. The reason is because we found that Microsoft Teams have the elements of Microsoft of a learning management system or platform. They have the major and the basic elements, the fundamental elements. Therefore, we decided to adopt it as we are and we go along. And we have learned a lot. And I can tell you for sure, those of us, if you have not used Teams, 2020's version of Teams and today's version is totally different. I am very happy Microsoft actually made a lot of enhancements and updates with new features so that it makes especially educators your role to manage your students and teach and everything at at ease. You are not worried at all. So MCKL, we are running 100% Microsoft Teams, and we don't use any other video call platforms or applications except Microsoft Teams. Okay, so I'm going to start the definition of what is hybrid teaching and learning. Okay, so the history that I found out from when I was compiling this, and also when I was drafting the guidelines and procedures of hybrid teaching and learning in MCKL. I just presented this last week, and finally it has been approved. And one of the things that I found that there was a kind of evolution of how hybrid teaching and learning, and it started from the term blended. Now, to higher ed, a lot of blended is quite common for us, because in those days, when you say remote, blended, or off-campus and all that delivery, it refers to face-to-face, combination of face-to-face or in-person and online. And those days, a lot of higher ed institutions, what they do is, let's say if I teach a course of 14 weeks in a semester, for example, how many weeks face-to-face and how many weeks online? That was blended. And as I start to read and understand the in-depth in terms of hybrid, why there was a term of, not to say confusion, but interchangeable term between blended and hybrid, because some researchers use blended, some researchers use hybrid. And I found that actually hybrid has an additional or has some additional components comparatively to blended. And if you look at this definition in the yellow box here, it is actually still a pedagogical approach combining both remote learning and in-person learning to improve learning experience and learning continuity. So the addition in hybrid teaching or learning is the learning experience and learning continuity. So what happens is, as educators, we must be very important. We must be very conscious about when we teach online and in face-to-face, we need to ensure that the experience is still there. So I know a lot of educators, which I've spoken to a lot of them, and they were saying that, you know what, nobody wants to become educators today, and this is the same thing now goes to US, because I think US, if you have read a lot of news, a lot of K-12 teachers are actually leaving their position, leaving the school, leaving their career because of uncertainties in COVID-19 and etc. But one of the things that we need to be resilient in many ways, and I know mental health is a very important issue, but most important thing, we still have to adapt, okay? And I can tell you the journey of hybrid teaching and learning, it will be something that you will find enlightened, or you will reach kind of an enlightenment at the end of the tunnel. So just as you go along, take it easy, which is my tip for you, and ensure that the learning experience will be beneficial for both in-person and remote learning students, and as well as learning continuity. Okay, now we never know in the situation right now, although situation looks like very hopeful for us, students can come back to school, including hours and everything, but we never know. If you look at the data itself from the ministry, our R0 is still very high, has increased over the last few weeks. So we never know that perhaps maybe another month or two, situation will go back to lockdown, which we do not want this case to happen. Okay, all right. And the definition that I'm actually sharing is actually adopted from UNESCO. So if you have the chance to read this document, I just want to share, you can actually find it. You just type COVID-19 Response Hybrid Learning 2021 from in UNESCO. You will find it is about a 50-over-page document, and very interesting because I was reading about it and I extract certain parts of it, which you don't need to read now, that I've summarized it. 4 key considerations that we need to look at when you conduct or when educators conduct hybrid teaching and learning. First of all, especially I would like to share this for the school leaders. Now, if there are school leaders here, if you're listening to this, please, you need to do an assessment to understand and envision how you want the hybrid teaching and learning will take place in your school or in your institution. So first thing first, you need to look at your students' needs and preferences. I believe for the last 2 years, we have, or almost 2 years, we have conducting virtual learning. You need to understand, or we need to understand what our students need, whether they have internet access, they have the electronic devices and etc. and all that, whether how all this we need to understand. So find out, ask your students, they have these devices and so on. Now, second thing is, I think on the effectiveness remote learning. Now, I would not want to argue about whether it will work. It did not work for my school, for my module, for my teacher, you know, and all that. But I think for the last 2 years of conducting remote learning, we have learned a lot, including MCKL. We have actually conduct occasional feedback from our students, especially our students, whether they find remote learning effective and all that. And we actually correlate with the academic performance and the academic achievements of the examination. And we found that remote learning is actually successful for our students in many ways. So we are happy to share, but that will be a different platform that I will share in terms of the details and everything. And the last but not least, the capacity of our instructors or your educators. Whether our teachers, our educators are capable to conduct hybrid teaching and learning. So if not, you need to identify training needs analysis. You have to do a TNA to find out what is lacking at our teacher side, what are the skills they need to conduct, what are the tools do they need to use to conduct hybrid teaching and learning. On the second case and consideration is the decide and design. So for educators, this is especially for educators, you may want to look at whether now if you are teaching a particular subject or a module, or you want to find out whether their level of study. So for example, primary 6 students or year 12, year 11, year 10 students, they are much more experienced in using electronic devices comparatively to early years or even early year students. So you need to look at it, to look at how this type of demographics to see whether hybrid teaching and learning can work and all that. Now, at the same time, there will be also by grades or achievement. And now we know that especially at this point of time, students have not been returning to school, physical school, for the last 1.5 years or so. So give themselves time to ensure that adjusting back to the physical presence in their when they attend school. And also to look at, we need to do an assessment whether to see whether our students are at risk. Those of them, we know they have not been catching up with the lessons. We need to find out why. You know, if not, what are the interventions that we can take or we can actually prescribe to the students to ensure that they can perform as equal as what the rest of the peers are. And the third one will be enable and execute. For this particular key consideration, educators, let's try to look at it in a way that now we may need to prioritize in-person learning and study remotely. So for example, you may want to see if you're teaching a module or subject that is social sciences versus sciences based, whether how you're going to incorporate the elements of remote and versus hybrid. You need to find out how you're going to balance that as well and all that. Or by learning activity. Now, this is something that a lot of higher ed institutions we do. It's basically very simple. We look at when we teach, how we actually look at it, decide based on the activities that we tell the students. So for example, if you are lecturing, you know, just sharing theoretical perspectives, you know, PowerPoint presentation, a lot of this can be done maybe at a different mode. So we can do flipped classroom, for example. Students can actually watch this online, you know, educators, you can pre-record your classes and everything. And then the in-person, during the in-person session, you just go straight to the tutorial, or you can do solutions-based, you know, problem-solving situations, etc. So you don't teach or reteach during the in-person session. So that is something that we can recommend you to look at it as well. And the last but not least, for educators and school leaders, very important, I have shared that earlier, hybrid teaching and learning is still experimental in nature. And a lot of times after 1 month you conduct, 2 months you conduct, you need to review, to look at it and evaluate the situation, whether how the circumstance has changed, whether students are okay or not okay. Second thing, students' engagement. All right. And the third thing, learning outcomes, whether it has been achieved or otherwise. And the last but not least, feedback from stakeholders. So one of the things that I can just maybe share with you to one of the tips is make your lecturers discuss among themselves, you know, meet up with them, you know, by program or by different subjects or etc. You know, talk to them and get them to share, you know, because somebody's problem can be someone's solution, and someone's solution can be somebody's solution to a situation, to a person really. So look at that in that situation. So, and also it's okay. take it easy. One of my peer was just telling me that, Mr. Adrian, for hybrid, right, we have to get ready standing up, because he was saying that for the last 2 years, he has actually been teaching seated down, and suddenly now, standing in front of a class. So that's why the leg muscles now have to build to make sure that, to walk or even to stand up more often and all that, to ensure that, the lecturers are able to have sufficient leg muscles and leg power in order for them to stand in front, teaching in front of a in-person class. All right. Okay, so what we have done was, from there, then I decided to eventually incorporate and to design into a framework that is quite easy, in a way that I think these are the 4 elements that we need to look at it when you do hybrid teaching and learning. First, look at course design. You teachers or educators, we may need to design or redesign. All right, I use the word redesign. Our rancangan pelajaran, or our subject plan, teaching plan, and etc., to ensure that the students will be able to complement and integrate the in-class and out-of-class activities. So you may want to look at it in a much more in-depth kind of how you want to do it. For example, certain things, if you can do online, take it, do it online, do it remotely and all that. And then if you want to do the in-person, for example, then you just focus on that and all that. Okay, then the second thing is the EdTech integration. Now, the EdTech integration here is looking at integrating education technologies. So I give you a very simple example. Those many years ago, when I was attending a conference, and one of the speakers was saying that, remember, when you design, when we do education technology, it is always the pedagogy that dictates technology. All right, I repeat again, it is always the pedagogy that dictates technology. But under these circumstances, now I have to share that right now the technology actually dictates the pedagogy, because I have to thank Teams, I have to thank all the other, video conferencing platforms that we are aware of, so that situations and we can still continue to teach and all that. And tapping on what Jabra or Rayson has shared earlier, and I know a lot of institutions, they are now looking at it. They have to think, okay, what are the devices that we need to equip our teachers? We have to buy and everything. I'm very sure, take it easy by step. Don't, unless if you have the budget, super budget, or, I know a lot of institutions, education institutions, they have that money and they don't know where to spend. But for us, we prioritize the purchase. So first of all, we decided to get a microphone, because we realized that when you conduct online classes, your audio is so important. All right, and especially hybrid teaching, the audio is important. So I'm going to share with you later some clips that we have observed from our sessions that we have conducted. Then the third one will be instructor facilitated guidance. A lot of guidance that we need to share with our learners, our students, how to conduct when you conduct, or when an educator, you conduct an hybrid teaching and learning. So it's very important that, for example, constant communication, both oral and chats, has to be taken place simultaneously. And I can tell you for sure, educators, based on our observation in MCKL, some lecturers were like, okay, they have to speak to the students. All right, students, can you hear me? Can you see this? Can you see that? And then at the same time, some of the students, those attending remotely, they will switch off the camera, they will turn off their mic, but they are all chatting at the back there in the panel there. We have to check whether and moderate what maybe the chats, they have questions and etc. and all that. Okay, so you need to know how to manage the modalities of the in-person and online. And the last but not least, the assessments. Okay, now assessments, I leave these normally to the lecturers to decide, because they know best what do they need to do to assess the students to ensure that learning outcomes are met. But most important thing that we may need to redesign our assessments in many ways so that it suits the situation that we are undergoing now. So I always tell lecturers, we always find a crisis as an opportunity rather than crisis as a problem. So use this as an opportunity to maybe go out a bit of our comfort zone and learn who knows, we can find solutions to what we are doing. All right. So one of the things that what we are right now, we have done and we are going gradually doing will be retrofitting our classrooms or renovating our classrooms by making it in a way that we call it as known as technology enhanced active learning or TEAL classrooms. So this is just the very first tool of our TEAL classrooms. The prototype, everything is all prototype, meaning to say the next classrooms that will be built will be different design, different furniture, different layout and all that. Now, as you can see in the TEAL classrooms, right, we decided to break away from our conventional layout. There is no table and chairs. But we only replace it with movable table and chair. Mobile, everything is all mobile, and they have wheels. They can move around. The lecturers, they can design. They can actually arrange the layout in many ways that they want according to their pedagogies. Number two, you realize that there is no technically front and back of the classroom. So in the front, we normally see the teacher's table and teacher's desk, or teacher's desk and then with the teacher's chair. We have taken that out and we replace it with a mobile console, which you can see in the middle of the classroom. Because the reason is we want it to be mobile so that the educators, they can move around the console according to their setup that they require for the class and all that. And with that, right, it makes social distancing so much easier, okay? So I'm just going to show you based on this particular presentation that if you see, now this is an actual training that we have taken it as an experimental for our hybrid learning and teaching. And it is not a class per se, but this about a month ago, we conducted a training for our staff using hybrid approach. So you can see that the in-person colleagues, our in-person colleagues, they are all seated there with social distancing guidelines adhering to the SOPs. And as well as if you look at the screen there, there was another group of our colleagues that joins the training online. And we had 2 days. So the first day was the very first time all of us was in a mess, and I can tell you for sure there were a lot of complaints, a lot of feedback, negative feedback. The responses that we received was not that great, and we said okay. And then for the second session, we improved. We took the negative feedback and we improved, and we apply it in the second session. And then when we look at the responses, they were like, okay, we have done something correct. So I was literally actually observing the whole 2 days of session, just to see whether how from the learner's point of view, from the instructor's point of view, and all that. So we look at that, at how we managed to do that. And we found that besides the learners, one of the things that for educators and school leaders, you need to understand is a setup. Okay, I have to share this. This is a very important setup. So when it comes to setup, right, it correlates with the tools, it correlates with the equipment, it correlates with the hardware. And that's where, if you are looking at it, Jabra, Penacast, we bought that just for your info, and we tested, and we found a lot of interesting insights from there, and we are planning now to use it, I think as what Rayson saying, for our next coming staff town hall, because there will be a group of our colleagues also joining and dialing in remotely, and also from our colleagues in our new campus in Penang, Paikat campus. So what happens is the setup now, I'm working the team to decide how to do the setup, how do you put the camera, what is essentials and everything. So we found that one important thing is, if you have a computer, there it is, desktop or laptop, and then after that, you need to have one of the things that we have actually equipped right now is a wireless Bluetooth microphone. That we found that the audio is more superior than the video, because we also realized that in our training, a lot of our instructors, they like to walk around in the class, especially in person, during the in-person session. And when you walk away, your voice may not be captured from the speakers in your laptop. So therefore, we thought, okay, why not a wireless Bluetooth microphone will work? And then that's where the camera. Now the camera, right, if you look at the picture here, the setup, right, the camera faces the audience. Now, we also realized that if the camera, we did not use the laptop ones, although you can use the laptop ones, the built-in ones, is because when you are away from, we are walking around in the in-person session, you will walk out from the frame of the view. So therefore, what we always tell the lecturers to do is, if you have an external webcam, you can turn around the webcam as you are. So sometimes you can turn your view, and then if let's say you want to do active learning strategies, collaborative based activities with your students, virtual and online, virtual and in person, you can change the camera accordingly and everything. And the last but not least, for those students who are participating in joining and
Oops, there's a technical glitch from Adrian's side.
Yeah, I think the same happened to me just now, is it?
So maybe we wait a while for him to come back. For now, I still can see his screen. Okay. While we're waiting for Adrian to come back, okay, while we're waiting for Adrian to come back, please fill up your attendance form. It's showing in this on the screen right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have some surprise for you. So do fill up the attendance form now. So later we're going to play maybe a lucky draw. So fill up first the attendance, but for those who already fill up the attendance, so you don't need to fill up again, as we already have your name recorded inside. Okay, I will just leave it here for a moment. Also, if you have any question regarding the hybrid learning, you can post it in the Q&A box. You can address the question to Mr. Johnny, Mr. Rayson, or Mr. Adrian. They will address the question accordingly.
Kira.
Adrian, you can just overtake the slide.
Hello,
Yeah,
Adrian.
sure. Yeah, I apologize for that. I thought this would never happen to me, and it happened to me. All right, no problem. It's okay.
It happened to Dr. Asma
Yeah.
yesterday, so she commented there.
No worries, no
Yeah,
worries.
no problem.
No
Okay,
problem.
yeah,
It's just a technical issue. Okay, over
okay,
to you.
so yeah, so all right, okay, hi participants, everybody. I apologize for the very slight technical glitches. So I have to restart on my desktop again and all that. And okay, so I was just sharing about how I think if I'm mistaken, I recall that I stopped at why the virtual or remote students are always winning, because they will be sitting away from the campus, and what they will do is they will view most of the content that you do or that you teach or from the screen, and they can actually have that luxury to view that and writing and focusing. But at the same time, I'm not saying that, I'm not implying that the in-person students will lack or will slack in many ways or disadvantage to them. It's because the in-person students, they are trying to juggle with a lot of modalities as well, which I will share with you from the next video clip here. So what I've done is I've actually, with permission, got one of my colleagues during the training session, and we were looking at it, how the instructors, because I want to focus on the instructors as how they teach and everything. So I'm just going to share this with you, but I will not, there will be just some very audible audio you can hear, but that's not our objective. Our objective, I just want to observe while the instructors, while she walks in the class or in the classroom, with our colleagues, and she has to look at the screen and what the chats are and everything, and at the same time managing the in-person students, at the same time managing the virtual or remote learners and everything. So you can see that her tasks are not just training or instructing during the session, but right now she has to eventually focus on the online, the management, and as well on that. So one of the best tip, right, or trick I would like to share with you for instructors is you can appoint a student to moderate the chats. Okay, that's one thing for sure. Meaning to say, now you can get one of your students, and they look at what the chats they are other students are posting, because some students, they may not want to say anything and they just want to use the chat. So you can appoint a student leader to moderate your chats and to see whether there are any questions that they want to do. And basically this training, we realized that. So while this particular colleague of mine, she is here, and then another colleague of ours is at the back there in the teams, they're moderating the chats. That's one. And the second thing also, we also observed that some of the best practice, another best practice is for the in-person students, right, to get them to bring their own device. Meaning to say they have their laptop or their tablet or even mobile phone, get them to actually bring their own device to the classroom. And if, let's say, for any instructors, you're intending to create any learning activities that you want to involve collaborative with the virtual or remote students and the in-person students, you can do it. And I can tell you for sure, Microsoft Teams is able to do that. We have actually done this, and we are very confident that this will take place, because a lot of times, when you have the in-person, you only involve them, and then the virtual. Because in Teams, you can do breakout rooms, a channel, you can bring everybody in, and the students can discuss. And then after that, from there, then after the discussion, they come back, then they can present it accordingly, like how they do it. So we are very sure that these two best practices will help you to kickstart hybrid learning and teaching in many ways. Okay, and the last but not least, the slide that I just want to share is some of the interesting observations and key findings that we thought for you to understand. It's a good thing is we did it first, and then we failed, and then I thought just want to share some failures with you, and as well as some so that you don't need to fail again if you are intending to, or you are going to conduct hybrid teaching and learning. So one of the things first is, before you conduct, make sure that understand where you've been assigned or you will be heading to your classroom. So find out if your classrooms or your venue capacity, they have the setup, they have the capabilities to do this and all that, whether you want to set up the really basic, extended, and etc. Now, we know some unis, That's where you have 300, 500 packs of lecturers or lecture theatre style, sitting style. How many of them, how you want to set up, you have that. So very lucky, unfortunately for MCKL, we don't have, but the maximum we have only about 100 plus after social distancing. So we are thinking of now how to position the microphone or the webcam, the desktop, everything, to make sure that the teachers, by the time they come in, they can just go away and straight teach. They don't need to worry about spending 20 minutes to set up and all that. Now, second thing, there will be a lot of planning required, thoughtful, to think about how do you want to do the pre-planned approach and all that. Now, if you're intending to do specific applications, you want to use specific applications, whether it's Word, PowerPoint presentation, Excel, and everything, how you want to integrate it, make sure that you prepare that early. And the last but not least, continuously to communicate the learners. Now, when I say communicate here, a lot of us, especially in the higher ed, very common, the lecturers will post an announcement or write an email. These are students, you need to do this. But we found that sometimes announcements students don't read. They tend to not read because it's so long, who wants to read? And if you have 6 subjects, all 6 lecturers, professors using the same thing, you're not. So we have actually asked the lecturers, if you want, you can do pre-recorded short snips of video clips and host it in your teams so that your students can watch and understand what they want, because it includes your body language as well, all right, and all that. Then you have during, position, ensure that the angle, optimizes your view and everything, your microphone and etc. Communicate continuously through oral and chat. So you need to manage your modalities, in person, online, remote, and etc. You may also need to adjust to different instructional or facilitation approaches. You must make sure that your face-to-face or in-person students are not sideline comparative to the virtual, and the virtual will be sidelined by the in-person, etc. And the last but not least, after you have conducted your lesson, don't be shy to review back. Okay, and I know educators, we tend to be very shy, including myself, watching my own recording, watching my own recording of how I teach, because it's very weird to watch your own teaching. But I can tell you for sure, that right now, I'm so comfortable looking and teaching in front of the camera. I don't look at the screen, but I look at you. I look at the camera when I speak. It's because I'm so used to it already. So these are things that you may find, discomfort in the beginning, but as you go along, you will find it so much better. And the last but not least, it is all right to fail for the first time. Improve the second time and progressively. And support is very important. So school leaders, give support, empower your teachers, instructors, to make sure that they can teach well, so that they can, your students or your learners will be able to have great learning experience throughout this situation. So with that, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome any questions if you have anything, and I'll try my best to answer. Over to you, Antara.
Thank you so much. Okay, one moment. Don't unshare your screen yet. If not, the meeting will end. It's not the meeting, or just keep your face. One moment.
It's okay. I'm still here. I'm still here.
All right. So just give me a few moments. All right. So, as I mentioned earlier, in the beginning or in the middle of the session, there is a surprise that we are giving out. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are having a lucky draw. For now, for this session, we are giving out 2 exam voucher, 2 MOS exam voucher, Microsoft Office Specialist, that you can either choose for Excel, Words, or PowerPoint. So for those who fill up your attendance, fill out the attendance form, you will get a chance to win this exam voucher. We are giving 2 exam voucher that worth 400 ringgit each. Okay, without further ado, let's start with the spinning. All right, I hope that you all can see my screen. Okay, let's spin.
No drum.
Ooh, oh, congratulations. Congratulations, Q Hui. Our team will contact you for the gift. All right. So we have another chance. No worries. Okay. So we have another chance. Let's go. Congratulations, Muhammad Faisal bin Muhammad Nasir. Our team will contact you regarding the gift. We will contact you through your email, both of you. So be aware to our email. We contact you soon. All right, this exam voucher is recognized worldwide. Yeah. Okay, so that's all for the lucky draw. Okay, congratulations to the winner. Congratulations to two of you. Okay, as you have all seen from recent presentation earlier, he is actually demonstrating the Jabra panel cast for the hybrid classroom learning. For now, we are having it for 3,870 ringgit per set. You actually will receive this set, one Jabra panel cast camera, the panel cast stand table, as well as the Jabra speaker. Okay, do contact us if you're interested. You can contact us. Leave your email in the Q&A, or you can go to our website, National Learning Week. There is a promotion. There is a promotion tab on the top. You may click to that tab, and you can contact us from that website as well. Okay, so that's we will send this to you all later during the thank you email. You will get this promotion template. All right, so that is the end of our session for today. Thank you so much for attending Hybrid Learning Series 2, and do come back for next month on the week of 13. The hybrid learning will continue on the 14th of December. But before that, please join again for tomorrow's session. We're having Minecraft for teaching and learning, MIM for teaching and learning, the collaborative and constructive learning dimension. For it's actually a Minecraft integration metric. Do come back tomorrow. Join us again on the same link, Microsoft-NLW-K12. Same time, 2:30 to 4:30. Thank you so much and enjoy your day.